Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. This is episode number 1151. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge, and we got a special one for you today. This one, we're getting back to equipment. And I got to say, this one really was a change for me. Because I've been talking to a lot of people about electric trucks, but I haven't been talking about electric trailers. And this is new. This is really new. So we're going to be talking with Jeff Scorsur today. And Jeff is with Range Energy. And Range Energy is developing trailer electronics to help change us over from gas-powered units to electrical. And they say they're saving 30 to 40% in diesel fuel economy by doing this for a low-risk investment. So we're going to find out how this works. Jeff is also a driver as well. He's an experienced driver. So we're going to be able to get to the bottom of this because he's actually the one testing it. And I know I'm going to get it. I know when I'm talking to a driver, for the most part, I'm going to get an honest answer. So I'm looking forward to talking with that. And before we get into that, let me tell you about RIMS Transport. RIMS Transport is an owner-operator based. Now, their trailers are not electric at this point, but they're an owner-operator based carrier based out of Hamilton, Ontario. They run about a 500-mile radius. They have flatbed, end dump, and bulk tanker divisions for owner-operators, depending on how your truck is outfitted and the experience that you have. They have dedicated routes, so you're not going to be running all over the place. They get paid on percentage. They will supply the trailer. All you do is bring your tractor, and they are willing to talk to anybody that's interested in being an owner-operator, but interested in being a successful owner-operator. All right, so they want to talk to you if that's what you want to do, and trust me, they're a good company to work with. I know the owners, and the culture is where it should be, so that's a good thing. All right, so this is going to be an interesting conversation because Jeff has nearly 30 years experience behind the wheel of the truck and has used that knowledge to drive the innovative design. So he's actually helping to design some of this stuff for Range Energy. Range Energy uses powered trailers to create a more sustainable future for the industry, and has found that electrifying the trailer gives the driver more control of the truck during acceleration and deceleration, whether it's full or empty, and simultaneously contributes to meaningful towards the industry's decarbonization efforts. So now, my question is, what happens to air brakes and all that? Anyway, I'm gonna be talking to Jeff about that. And if you're wondering about that question too, like what happens if you're not feeling safe on the road? Well, the best thing to do is follow Bison's policy of right to the side. Bison says you can turn it off whenever you want, my friends. If you don't feel safe on the road, just shut it down, no questions asked. They have been doing that for a number of years, and their drivers love it. It's not just weather related, it's illness related, it's family related, any of that kind of stuff. They want to make sure their drivers are in control and will tell them what to do. Now, because they have a policy like this, it also allows them to have a great reward policy, and that is Bison's Safe Driving Reward Program that financially rewards drivers for achieving safe miles. Their top-level drivers earn up to 15% more through the program, and rewards are paid quarterly and can be deposited directly into group RSSPs if chosen to. So there you go. RIMS and Bison, two of the great partners we've had over the years. One is all flatbed and one is all van. You take your choice, and while you're thinking about that, let's go to the interview with Jeff Scorsur. Here we go. All right, everybody on the line, I've got Jeff Scorsur with Range Energy. Jeff, that's three, right?
Three times in a row, correct pronunciation. We're good. We're good to roll.
Thank you. Jeff's the lead for vehicle operations. Jeff, welcome to the show. It's good to see you. I am excited to talk about this today, and I don't usually get excited about talking about equipment anytime unless it's a Peterbilt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well today.
Good. So I think we're going to start with what Range Energy is, because when you say Range Energy, I think you're talking about stoves and ovens.
Yeah, a lot of people get us confused with like, are we a power company or what we're doing? But In a nutshell, we're electrifying semi-truck trailers.
Yes, this is interesting because if I read this correctly, now where I did work on this before was with the refrigerated system on trailers, but that's not what you're talking about, is it? You're talking about movement itself, like the actual trailer operation. If I got that correct?
That's correct. However, our system will integrate with our power source will integrate to like an electric reefer unit or lift gates or whatnot.
Right. And you were saying you're the only driver, you're the vehicle operation lead. Sounds a lot like a dispatcher, but apparently you said you're driving. So
I dispatch myself.
That's even better. Does it go by weather? We're going to Florida today, folks. It's snowing here.
Right now, I still have the opportunity to kind of choose certain routes and whatnot. However, we do need to do testing in snow and ice, and I'm not necessarily looking forward to that, but I will do it.
Whereabouts are you located? Or where is Range Energy's office is located? If it's
so, headquarters is in Mountain View, California.
Okay.
So in the San Francisco Bay Area, kind of tech epicenter of the world, so to speak.
So when are you going to test it in Canada? Because I'm in Toronto, Canada, which actually is the southern part of Canada. So you need to go way up north there. But how do you do cold weather testing? Do you have to go up to like Minnesota or somewhere or Utah or?
The nice part about being in California is we have Donner Pass not too far from here, so we could kind of watch when a storm's coming in and kind of, everyone runs from the storm. Sometimes when we're doing testing, we're looking for the storm, which is
Jeff going really their way. Now you got to chain up. Does it electric chain up for you or?
No, that's still all the driver, unfortunately.
Oh, so how did you get that role? How did you give us the background here on your trucking career? Because I don't think you went from, you were 30 years. I think I read that you were in this. So tell us how you got started in the industry to begin with. You don't have to start with I was born in the sleeper, but maybe the next step after that. Where do we go?
Yeah. So I've been driving 27 years. Okay. I've been around the industry. I'm a third generation driver in my family. The opposite side of my family was in farming. So I've been around equipment since a very young age, helping out on the family farm during the season and whatnot. So yeah, I got my start driving, just kind of grew up in a world where I don't want to say it was the only option I had, but it was kind of like, it was the option I wanted.
Right.
My dad was in it, and summer breaks as a kid, I would go out with him sometimes and or as much as I could, and even went with my grandfather a few times. And so I didn't really picture a world that I wasn't a driver growing up.
Right. Okay. So I'm about the same, I'm probably got 40 years experience in this, 25 behind the seat. And what's your thoughts on electrification? Now, I know you work for a company that's electric, so you probably have to be very careful what you say here. But just in general, when it first came out, there's a lot of us drivers going, it's not going to work. And I'm still getting educated. I go to a lot of the shows. I've done, I don't know how many podcast interviews on, electrified vehicles. And it's starting to come. We see it in city operations and stuff. Do you see this being successful on the highway stage, if you will, or what are your thoughts in general on that?
I think it's definitely going to happen, right? It's going to happen. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to go into place, obviously, before electric semis are a normal thing on the road. I'm a little bit jaded. I see electric trucks all the time because I'm here in the Bay Area. So, I see Tesla semis and I see, e-Cascadias rolling around and whatnot, but they're basically in a confined area that has to, they have to return to base every night. They got to charge, they got to do those things.
Right. And I don't see we're still having issues with that here. We do have them up in some of the city operations. You see electric vehicles around. We're even worse than you are in California as far as distance between truck stops and power stations. Canada, we may be larger as far as land mass, but that doesn't mean we have better networks. You guys certainly have that down in the States. And But our government is following you. In fact, everybody's following California. You guys are the leaders in changing over to, and I think it's being done quicker than I think the rest of us can keep up. We're just trying to keep going. So, what's as far as California goes, do you see them making some of the mandates they've put out and the goals they've put out? What is it, 2020, 2030? Is that when they have to have everything electrified, I think, by then?
Yeah, I think that's the number they came out with. I think that's a little tough to actually happen in real life. But over time it will happen. And that's kind of where the range trailer steps in, is it kind of bridges that gap a little bit as far as like a first step in electrification.
Okay.
Our trailer will work with a regular semi truck to improve fuel economy, or it'll work with an e-Cascadia to give it more range.
Okay. All right. So tell us how it works. Give us the overview. Don't get too technical on me. I'm a media host. I'm not a mechanic. So keep that in mind as we're going through this. But how does it work? Maybe give us the main components and how do they propel the truck? Like, what is an electric trailer? Usually we're just dragging trailers. They don't do anything other than just roll behind us. So I'm kind of trying to get in my mind how this electrification works. So
yeah, a simple explanation is basically comprises of three main components, right? You have a smart kingpin, as we call it, which is a sensing kingpin, much like a load cell, like on a crane. And it'll just, it doesn't need to go side to side. It just needs to measure front and back, basically. Then a large battery pack and an e-axle. So as the truck is accelerating, it's going to provide torque to the e-axle and assist the truck in acceleration, climbing hills, and every aspect there. And then also it'll do regenerative braking, kind of much like an electric car now. They call it one pedal driving. If I don't know if you've ever driven like a Tesla or a Rivian or something, but yeah, you basically drive with one pedal. So as you let off the gas, the regenerative braking kicks in, and it'll help you slow to a stop.
Okay, that explains the 401 here. Okay. I've only been in a Tesla once, and I was a passenger. I was driven like I don't know, a mile, and I thought it was like an iPad on wheels. Is what I didn't realize it only had one pedal, but now I see the way people drive in front of me. That makes a lot more sense now that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the trailer's the trailer's a lot heavier, so you're not going to get that instant braking, but it is going to assist in the braking, much like it assists in the acceleration.
Okay, so let's start with the kingpin. This kingpin is still within the fifth wheel, right? Or we moved it? Where is it?
It's in the plate of the trailer.
Okay.
Above the apron there. So it's something that we integrate into our trailers.
Okay, so you'll still have a pin that goes into the fifth wheel, and then you'll have another one that's the other way?
No. So one pin, the load cell is basically connected to that pin.
Oh, I see. Okay. So what happens to that? That takes as you know, that takes a lot of beating, right? Whether it's forward, backwards, someone just check, that's good. What's that going to do to your sensors? That's going to just make a mess of them, won't it?
I mean, the good news is, the crane industry lifts a lot of really heavy things and uses these load cells way above the capacity that is ever going to be seen on the road.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And so basically we over-spec'd it by, tenfold.
Okay. No. Okay. I'm going to trust whatever you say, Jeff. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to believe you because you're the trusted source. I'm just trying
to believe me. That was one of the things I asked. I was like, one of the first things I asked was, has this been approved by the DOT on the road? Right. Yeah. And the answer was overwhelmingly yes. And basically because it's way overbuilt.
Yeah, well, because and you being a kind of a veteran trucker like I am, back in the days when you had a stick shift and you could click in very softly and all of that stuff, that we do with our fancy trucks. But now I don't know about you. I've been in some of the automatics and it's just like bang. I'm thinking if you have sensors, it's gone. It's gone at the first training school. It's out of there, right? So that's what I was thinking. So okay, so now we go back from the kingpin. What do we got? We got is it a drive? What's attached to the axles? Where's it go?
And so basically the axle is going to be changed out to a completely different axle. So it's not going to have a traditional trailer axle.
Okay.
The electric motors basically are confined inside that axle. And so then from the kingpin sensor goes through a control module that's going to tell it to deliver power or braking power. And it'll go from there.
Okay. So what happens to our traditional air brakes? Where are they?
Everything's still there. Foundational brakes are still in place. There's literally no change to them.
Okay, so essentially, this trailer is going to have two braking systems. It'll have one that's electronic put through the kingpin, and another one that is activated by the driver and the pedal whenever they need it.
Yeah. So, like in an emergency situation, like going down a long grade, we've done some testing out here in California. As you know, we have some large grades out here, and I've gone down hills fully loaded, never touching the foundational brakes. But if you ever got into that emergency situation at the bottom of a hill, your brakes are going to be nice and cool and ready to go.
Okay. All right. Is there any wear on that brake? Just especially in the scenario you just said about going down a long grade, is that, with your air brakes, you've got brake fade and, if you're not watching them, you're going to end up with no brakes at the bottom. Is there that potential with this system or? I mean,
it definitely builds a lot of heat into the electric motor and whatnot. And we do have, like we haven't gone into everything. We do have cooling and all that. It's kind of built into the system also. But yeah, it will build a lot of heat, but we haven't overheated anything. We haven't burned anything up yet.
Okay.
We definitely put it to the test.
If you have a tandem situation, will it be two of them or we up here, we've got trailers with, 5-6 axles, right? We just keep adding them on as you add weight on. So would there be only one of these on there or is there one per axle or how would that be spec'd out if it could
Currently we've only tested it with like a single trailer. We're kind of a newer company out there. We're not mainstream yet by any means, but we'll definitely get to that point and it'll be interesting to see. In theory, it should, if you have two e-trailers, so to speak, hooked up, they should kind of do the same thing.
Well, Jeff, we all know that theory works in trucking until you get on the road and then theory doesn't work as well as it used to.
Yeah, that's actually one of the good things about Range is that when I first came on board here, they were just like, we need to get this on the road and we need to try this in real life, not in simulation, we need to do this in real life. So now, how do you keep the charge? Does it charge while you're driving down the road? Is this something that we got to plug the trailer in every night now? How does that work? Yeah. So in a perfect scenario, to get the maximum fuel savings, you would want to plug the trailer in every night. Typically, if it's at a loading dock, hopefully we could build in the infrastructure into the building to charge it up. And you'll get, 30 to 40% fuel savings by doing that. If you don't charge it, it goes into what we call a hybrid mode. So if the battery gets to a certain state, you're only going to see anywhere from, probably 10 to 15% savings after that. But then it'll basically start regenerative braking harder to put power back into the battery, but it'll never go dead. It'll just kind of turn into more of a hybrid mode.
Okay, so I'm thinking of how many trailers do we see at drop yards, where it's the middle of a field, there's no chargers or anything there. So, if a trailer's been sitting in that drop yard for a week before it's picked up again, and the driver's got no way of charging it, hoping will it still go? Like, is it a way of where you could switch it off and I'm just going to drag it home, whether like a traditional trailer or does it always have to be charged to move?
I mean, no, you exactly what you just said. It could be turned off and pull just like a regular trailer.
Okay, so you're never stuck somewhere because this thing won't move because it's dead.
Right. That's actually one thing that we kind of built into the system because you don't ever want to be in a situation where you're on the side of the road, right, with a dead battery.
Yeah. We've all been there. It's bad enough with the truck. Never mind adding a trailer on top of this.
Exactly. And I mean that's going to be a huge problem for the electric semis to overcome, right? Because when they run out of charge, they're dead in the water.
Yeah. Now, one thing you mentioned, and when you were just talking about, plugging in at a dock, that there was some savings there. with this operation, is there a fuel savings to someone going down the road? And is it saving them some fuel? Because that's a game changer. As you know, any little fuel savings in trucking today is big money, right? So does it help as far as fuel economy, or was that just?
Yeah. So like I said, with the full battery, you get roughly 30 to 40% savings with our current setup. We're actually trying to improve that even more, which is, as you know, pretty big in the trucking industry. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty skeptical when I heard those numbers when I first joined here. And yeah, it's been proven out. And then when it goes, to a lower charge battery and you go into that hybrid mode, you're still going to see about a 10 to 15% savings.
Okay. All right. So any savings is good. Price of fuel's not getting any cheaper. It's going up, right? So going to be a big. Now, would this charger be the same one that you have for trucks, or is someone now putting in some other type of charger? Or I somehow in my mind I see drivers having a whole toolbox of different charging connections, no matter where they go. Once we get all of this going, right? What's your thought?
That's definitely something that's pretty easily changeable for us. So, I mean, we could set it up to adapt to whatever. I mean, there's a couple standards that they're starting to come out with. But we could, it all depends on how fast you want to charge also.
Right. Okay. So let's talk costs. How much is this? $1 million trailer? Cause I only have $100,000 truck. So is this $1 million trailer? Where are we going, Jeff?
Yeah. So it's
as much as you know.
The final price is we don't know exactly yet, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of incentives coming out. I know the California core program right now is offering basically an $80,000 voucher to anyone that buys our trailers. So that's going to cover a majority of the cost. I mean, I would imagine these trailers are going to be in the $100,000 range.
Yeah.
But if you get an $80,000 voucher, that makes a trailer very affordable at that point.
Yeah, I was doing some work with a company that had the solar panels for refrigeration. That's so I'm familiar with that program you were just talking about, because they were involved with the same program through California. So now what happens when stuff needs to be replaced? There's mechanics listening right now, Jeff, that are not excited. I might be excited, but they're not excited. So tell us what's a repair. They're now, I mean, trailers have always been fairly easy. You've got brakes, wheels, dolly legs, basic structure, lights, you're done. Now you're adding all this electronic stuff underneath. And I could see this electrified kingpin wearing somebody, because that's not easy to change out kingpins and stuff. What does a mechanic or somebody that's going to be servicing these have to worry about or expect going down the road?
As it stands right now, electrification drivetrains are super reliable. It's amazing how reliable they are. As of right now, we're only thinking you're probably going to have to change the coolant out of the cooling system at anywhere from 250,000 to 300,000 miles. But we don't know. We haven't been out around long enough to see like how long these components are really going to last. However, all our suppliers that are supplying these components are telling us these are like, million-mile components.
Okay. All right. So good stuff there. Now, is this the same? I have a pickup truck, but I don't have a trailer. And I've never had like a boat trailer or anything like that. Is this the same? I understand a lot of those are electric trailers. Are we talking similar, or is this newer technology than what I know on your website there, you had a video of a basic cargo trailer for a pickup truck. Is this the same kind of technology that would already be out there for a lot of people?
It's the same concept. Everything's just bigger, obviously. Bigger axles, bigger motors, bigger batteries.
Yeah.
So everything, those little trailers that we have a couple of them. And basically those were like proof of concepts. Like, can we make this work?
Right.
And if so, we'll translate it into the bigger trailer.
So where are you guys? They've employed you and you're testing. Where are you on the journey? Sounds like you've got the technology. Sounds like you've created. You're now testing it. Is it ready for market? Like, can I order one of these from you today, or are we still testing? Where are we in that journey from? Oh, we got a great idea to, hey, there it is in the lot. I know that's a long one. You may not know all of that part, but
Yeah, basically, we're kind of gearing up for I would say a smaller fleet of these trailers that are going to go out to other customers and be used in pilots and whatnot. Um, we're going to get a lot of good data back from them too. They're going to kind of do our testing for us, so to speak. Um, we're hoping to be manufacturing these trailers by 2025.
Okay. All right. Before that California slam, you gotta have it done, right? So
yeah, that's actually one of the good things about this product is, like I said, we were talking a little bit earlier, I was in the AV space, the autonomous space before working at Range. Cool concept, super fun job, but years away to deployment. This is something we're working on. We're a small team, we're kind of scrappy. We're gonna get this done quick and hopefully get into manufacturing shortly.
Yeah, and that's what I found with a lot of this technology, whether it be the electric trucks or the autonomous trucks. Everybody gets all excited. You hear about it all the time, and then all of a sudden you don't hear about them anymore. And that's because testing didn't happen or whatever, or things didn't go the way expected. So I see it up and down, but with California putting in this, mandate that everything's got to be changed, it's pushing everybody to solve whatever the issue is. You don't have forever to come up with this. You have to, you have to do something quickly. The one thing I don't think I asked you is weight. So a lot of companies they buy the same trailers. They know exactly how much load they can put on them, based on owner operators or whatever. What does this do to our trailer weight? Does this add a lot? Because that can be a real issue for a lot of people that are running kind of at the very edge of their freight columns there.
It definitely does. It currently in its current state, it's roughly 4,000 pounds. Between the axle, the batteries, and all the extra wiring and whatnot. We're hoping to get some allowances. As you know, California's made allowances for the tractors. There's just no rules for the trailers yet. We're currently working on that, trying to get a little bit of an exemption if you're running one of our trailers. Nothing set in stone yet.
Yeah, because if you think about it, a lot of us, I know in my past, I've had the same truck and I've switched, and just little things like looking at the trailer, you don't think, oh, it's changed. I had two Great Danes. One had white siding on it, which was, I think, more of not fiberglass, but it was kind of their generic siding. And then I went to a trailer that had stainless siding. Both trailers looked identical parked, other than, the makeup of the sides. But boy, it added an extra 2,000 pounds onto that trailer, which reduced payload, right? And if you're thinking people running 46,000 pounds, you don't have much to play with. Sometimes you're playing with the fuel $50 at a time to get home just to make sure. So 4,000. Yeah, we've all been there. Anybody who's been driving for a while has been there at least once. So if you add 4,000 pounds to that, you're really reducing payload. You think they would give you an exemption, but what happens if you went out of state? Like California might say, yes, it's okay. But what happens when you go to Colorado?
Yeah, it's kind of yet to be seen on that front. We're kind of hoping that hopefully California will set a standard that people agree to, and asking for a little bit of weight exemption is not a huge deal. Is a lot of the max load capacities in different states other than California are a lot higher anyway.
Yeah. No, it's just a lot for a company to think about. You're not only thinking about charging and maintenance and stuff now you're worrying about permits. I'm sure they'll figure that all out. Jeff, we are not here to solve the world's problems today. Right. We're just here to talk about it. But it's an interesting concept. So where do people go from here now? Do we just wait and see when you're done? Where does someone go to learn more and, maybe get involved with the process? I'm not sure if someone's buying trailers, is it a 4-year trailer ordering process now, or where are we?
Yeah, we don't know for sure yet. We're hoping to start getting orders, relatively soon. This group of trailers that we're going to build out here in the next couple of months is going to kind of steer the direction of where we're going. Best place to get information on it is our website, at rangeenergy.com.
Okay, the best place to go. Now, is it only certain types? Are you working with dry vans? You've been working with flatbeds. Am I going to be able to get this on any type of trailer, do you think? Or
currently, we're building them on vans, but there's nothing above the rails, right? Everything's below the rails, so there should be no reason not to put them on a flatbed or a port trailer or whatever.
Okay, so it would work. You think it'll work with split axles and all that? With you guys with 10-foot one spreads and
Yeah, it should, because the e-axle is only going to be on one axle.
Okay.
So the other axle will just be a regular axle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no problems there.
Wow. Well, we'll be interested to. I'm gonna have to have you come on as you get low. A little longer down the road there, when you're closer to develop. See how it's going. I'm gonna keep an eye on this for sure, because first time I've heard about it on the trailer side. And it's very interesting. So thanks for being on the show today, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Likewise, it was trying to get the word out there, and hopefully this helps a little bit.
All right. Well, we'll do our part. That's why we're here. And thanks again for being on the show, Jeff. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, that was a great interview with Jeff. Hopefully you enjoyed that, got some good information. Maybe you got more questions and answers. Before I let you go, let me tell you about RS2000 Tax Services. That's right. They are a great accountant for owner-operators. If you're in the Ontario area and you're looking to get your taxes done, and trust me, this is the time of year that you need them. They specialize in truckers' taxes and farming taxes. If you work in those two industries, which work side by side anyway, then RS2000 are the people for you. Now, you don't have to get to them because they're in Kamoka, Ontario. I mean, I don't even know where Kamoka is. But I tell you what, they don't care because they're going to come to you. So why don't you go, give them a call, go to rs2000tax.com, give them a call, and then you can, they'll come to you and tell you all about it, have your family involved, give you the best deal, and help you with your taxes so that you get some money to put back into that truck and you get things rolling down the road and be successful for your family. So that's the way to do it. Check them out at rs2000tax.com. And if you want to check out Range Energy, they are a great, just go to range.energy. Range.energy is their website. Go there. You can check out these electric trailers and find out all about them. I was really interested in that for sure. And while you're doing that, you can also follow us. We're on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, podcast platforms, radio, Lead Pedal Radios at Mixcloud. It's everywhere. But you can find us. Because you know where we are. We're where we've always been on all of those channels. All right, my friends. Hey, you know what? Make sure you download our podcast. Apple changed some settings late last year, which affected a lot of podcasts, especially anybody over 1,000 episodes, which is where we were. So if you find that your podcasts are not coming down automatically, maybe go check your settings if you have an Apple device and make sure that your podcasts are downloading automatically. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Be good out there, and we'll see you on the other side, all right?
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.